Good day and a very warm welcome to Wesley Impact. On the programme today, I'm going to be exploring a gospel public opinion survey from Matthew's Gospel. We'll take a look at one of Wesley Mission's respite services through our out-of-home care service. And we meet an amazing man who's put an account of his deep personal pain in the form of a book. According to the World Health Organization, cancer has become a leading cause of death in Australia, and indeed the very word speaks fear into many people. David McDonald, a Canberra-based church planter, pastor and sports chaplain to the ACT Brumbies Super Rugby team, we better give them a mention, was diagnosed with incurable lung cancer in late 2011. He's written a book to share that there is hope beyond cure. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks, it's great to be here, Keith.
Look, David, very early on in the book, you get us right into the heart of it, but I take one step further back to the fact that you've been pastoring in a church, a very strong church in Canberra, 1,000 people, everything was moving in the right direction. You drop a bombshell to them and say, we're leaving here and we're going somewhere else. How does all that come together and what the news later is?
My wife has always had a passion for mission work, and it's something that she's encouraged me to think about. We've also had a growing interest in the north of Australia, and she's been working in Indigenous health now for more than a decade. And we became aware that so much focuses on the area of Darwin, but there's a great need for more gospel-focused ministry in that area, particularly to the south of Darwin, the area of Palmerston. And so over a process of a few years of thinking about this, talking and exploring and praying, we decided as a family that we would move to Palmerston and would be involved in planting a new church.
And it's really while you're there that the world turns around for you, because you introduce us to those powerful words in your book, tumour and incurable, and this move, everything changes.
Yes, in fact, we never actually made it to Darwin. We sent up all our belongings. We'd purchased a house. We had the kids enrolled at school. My wife had a job. We had a team of people to start a church. And we were saying our final goodbyes. I was meeting with some friends. I started to feel a numbness between my shoulders, pain in my chest, and things weren't right. I knew they were wrong, but I didn't know why. I was taken to the hospital, query heart attack. It's a quick way to get through triage. And they discovered it wasn't my heart, it was something which I'd never anticipated. I discovered that I had lung cancer.
And that came right out of the blue for you?
Completely. I'd assumed that my breathlessness and feelings of discomfort had to do with packing the house and the stress of leaving. But a tumour had been growing inside me for some time. It had ruptured, it had spread. There was a build-up of fluid around my lungs, which was causing the breathlessness, and everything changed. We had to make decisions there and then to turn our belongings around, to change our plans, and I was admitted to hospital.
Look, you pick up that theme of tumour and incurable, and early in the book you really ask that question. The cure, is the cure the ultimate hope for people with a terminal illness? And you say it worries you that people ask the question in that kind of way.
Well, it worries me because we are all terminal. That's the reality. And it's something that I think in Australia we pay lip service to. We don't acknowledge the fact that one day we are going to die. We expect that we'll be given our 70, 80, 90 years, and here I am as a 49-year-old being told that I might have 10 to 13 months to live. Does that mean that I have no hope anymore? And I kept hearing from and meeting people who had cancer and terminal illness whose entire hope was invested in finding a cure, and they would look everywhere and they would spend so much money and they would try every possible option, because for them that's all they had. They were trying to hang on to life at all costs. But even if I was to be cured of cancer, even if they were to be cured, one day we'll die of something else. And so I wanted people to have a hope that was enduring, a hope that was real.
We're going to talk in a moment a bit more about the book, but if someone was to say to you in a few sentences, how would you respond to the question, if God is real, why this kind of suffering?
Yeah, well, the suffering that I experienced, the physical, mental, I think also affected me spiritually. It raised questions, it raised doubts, it confused me. I wondered whether the things I'd believed and the things that I'd taught all those years had substance, whether they stood up to the reality test of genuinely dying. And I think it's normal, I think, for people to be faced with suffering and to ask questions that relate to God. Deep down, I think we've all got an awareness that there is a God, that there's a creator, and we have a desire that that creator be good, and our suffering causes questions. Is he good? Is he powerful? Can he do anything about it? And I was brought back to one scripture that was so important in Psalm 62, which talks about God being both powerful and loving.
Now, we're going to talk more about your book in a moment or two and responses, I think, from people who've read it. I'd like today to introduce you to our performer. Greg Cooper is a worship leader in Sydney and has written a song that picks up the message, I think, of Psalm 139 and Romans 8. It's about the depth and intimacy of a God who knows and loves us. It's called My Only King.
Oh Lord, find me here, desperate for you to hear. Oh Lord, there's no place out of sight. You know the places I hide. Oh Lord, so I call out, but you know my words before I can speak. You search my fears. In darkness you are near. Oh Lord, oh Lord, the flood of tears. In grief you meet me here. Oh Lord, and I call out, but you know my words before I can speak. Search my heart, know what I seek. You bring me strength when you know I'm weak. In all, my only King. In all, no present or past, no life or death can come between the Lord. No power of man, no height, no depth can come between the Lord, my King. Can come between the Lord, my King. Know my words, and you search my heart, and you bring me straight. In all, my only King. In all, because you know my words before I can speak. You search my heart, you know what I seek. You bring me strength when you know I'm weak. In all,
Keith Garner's new book, A Word for the World, is now available. Dealing with the 4 themes of success, sorrow, society and spirituality, the 16 sermons in this book will definitely inspire and challenge you as you read. The book also includes a DVD featuring interviews with Nick Farr-Jones, Lee Hatcher, Tanya Plibersek and Margaret Somerville. For more information on A Word for the World, please contact us on 9263 5555 or at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Now, if you'd like to know more about Greg and his music ministry and his album Again and Again, details will be on our website all this week. Now we're back with pastor and writer Dave MacDonald. Now, you say something that I think would be, to some people, a contradiction, let me say. You talk about blood tests, ultrasounds, CT scans, never revealing your deepest problems. Well, they would say that that actually was your deepest problem. What did you mean when you said that?
Well, cancer has an impact on my life for this life. There's something deeper within that has an impact on my life for eternity, and that is the problem of my own sin, my independence from God, my desire to rule my own life. And the great news that I found was that God had already dealt with that problem in the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that I could be forgiven, that I could be cleansed, that I could be restored into a relationship with God that neither cancer nor death could get in the way of. I was looking forward to an eternity.
That seems to be the simple gospel truth that all of us know. Did this experience bring you back to some of that reality in a way, you know?
Yes. It pushed me to work out whether what I had believed and whether what I had preached was the truth. And it's so easy, I guess, to say things, but it's another thing in the face of your own death to go, I'm putting my confidence in that. And that's really what it pushed me to do. In my weakness in hospital, in those dark nights there and shortly afterwards, just asking again, is there a God? Did that God send Jesus? Did that Jesus die on a cross? Did he rise from the dead? Has he paid for my forgiveness? And the scriptures kept saying to me, yes, yes, yes.
David, it would be helpful to, when you talk about those dark nights, you did go through times when you were told this news, when there was some inner questioning going on.
Yes, definitely. I don't think that there'd be a year of my life where I haven't been through some measure of doubts. Some people think Christians have absolute certainty. I've yet to meet one. We question, and it's good to ask those questions. It's good to face those doubts and see if they actually have answers. Because if I'm hiding from the truth, then I need to come out. I need to get out into that truth, into the light. And being faced with your own mortality means there's nowhere to hide.
Dave, what about people's reactions? Because if you write it, obviously your friends, those who know you, and some that don't will read it. What have they said?
Look, it's been a great privilege to write this, both for Christians to reaffirm their own beliefs and to explore those questions, but it's really written for the person who's wanting to inquire whether there is substance, whether the message of Christianity stands the test of reality. And I want people who have those serious questions of life and death and meaning and purpose and God and the future to find hope in this book. And my great joy is it's being distributed, it's being given to people, many who would never go to church, many who've got those questions. And the fact that I'm writing, particularly as somebody with cancer, I think gives me a voice to other people with cancer and serious and terminal illnesses.
Even around the football team, people that might be asking questions.
Look, it's been a great privilege for me to be able to give copies of this book to the Brumbies, the players, the staff. My goal is to give it to every Super 15 player in the country. I think I'm waiting for the Western Force to come over and we'll give it to them. But anyone, really. We're all facing a terminal illness, aren't we? It's called life. And I think this book has relevance to everybody's situation.
What about the future?
My future? Look, somebody asked me the other day if I had a 5-year plan, and I laughed because only a few months ago I wouldn't have thought that I could make a 1-year plan. I don't know what God has in store, but I know that it's God who looks after these things and that he will work out the best, and I trust him with that. At the moment I'm involved in pastoral ministry again after a bit of a break over the period of sickness. But it's exciting. Dave,
it sounds exciting, and we want to wish you well and to see you in that journey and your certainty in Jesus Christ, and that really is what matters. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's been 200 years since the first Methodists met in Australia. To celebrate 2 centuries of faith and pioneering care, CEO and presenter Reverend Dr. Keith Garner takes us back to where it all began.
But we don't begin here at the heart of London. We begin in a town in the north of England.
In this fascinating narrative, Reverend Garner chronicles the history of the life and times of the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. This fresh and thought-provoking documentary takes us on a journey throughout the United Kingdom, beginning in John Wesley's hometown of Epworth.
John Wesley was born here on the 17th of June, 1703.
This 1-hour DVD travels onto his education years and beginnings of social justice in Oxford, to his final years in London. For more information on John Wesley, the man and his mission, call 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
At Wesley Mission, we stand alongside families and carers who need sometimes to have time out to do the many things that you and I just take for granted. Our out-of-home care is one programme that offers respite for families. This is part 2 of Peter and Vicky's story.
It didn't take me long to realise I was becoming very run down. I realised I needed help, and thank God for places like Wesley Mission that they came in. I said, I need help. I realised I needed help.
Thank you.
The respite to me has been
Good
a
catch.
godsend, because without them,
That's it. That was a good one.
I couldn't do what I have to do. I can actually have a bit of normality in my life.
Good walking, Peter. Very good.
I am actually trying to get a little bit more help now,
Don't step in the
because
hole.
with Peter being so
That's it. Good walking.
high need, now that I'm going to be moving, I said, please, I need a bit of help. Michelle, I'm going to go to the house for a bit to see how the tilers are tiling everything there. So I'm going to go for a little bit, check up in what
we'll
they're
be
doing
fine.
there.
Won't we, Peter?
Okay.
We'll be fine. We're going to have lunch.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Give you a little kiss. All right. I know that I'm going to come back, and I know that, she looks after him. You know why I'm confident? Because Peter can tell me.
There you go. All right. Maybe could be back a bit further. Vicky's a very, very busy person with the business and Peter, and now purchasing a new home. And I think she knows that she can go out now without actually having to think about Peter too much, and that he'll be looked after and happy until she comes back.
They do a lot of stuff that, takes time for me to do. And in that time, I can, in about 3 hours, it's amazing what you can do when you can leave the house, go pay your bills, go do your grocery shopping.
I feel very trusted by Vicky and the family.
Yeah.
No one falls on my watch, do they, Peter? I'm very good. Thank you, Peter.
This is the house that we're going to move into. It has been a pretty long renovation because there's a lot of work to be done here. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
I'm good, Vicky.
That's good. You've got a bit of a tough job here, eh? These tiles went down this week and last week. They've been doing them. We've done this permanent ramp here now for Peter, which will be good. And everything's been sort of remodelled so we can assist Peter, and it'll give him a lease of life as well. It'll do it for all of us.
In my studies in the midsection of Matthew's Gospel, the passage I want to read to you could be considered the high watermark of Jesus' ministry, a turning point, one which orients him toward the cross. It's in the district of Caesarea Philippi in modern-day Lebanon that Jesus not only seeks feedback from the disciples about their perception of him, but also wants to have some assessment about what other people think he is. So I'm going to read these familiar words to us, which are found in Matthew chapter 16 and verses 13 through to 20. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." "But what about you?" he asked. "Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not overcome it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then he ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. So this gives us an insight and raises the question, what are folks saying about him? During the past weeks, and when we look at this gospel, we've seen different aspects of Jesus' ministry. There's no doubt that people were beginning to draw their own conclusions as to who he is. Who do they think he is? Their response, John the Baptist, Elijah, Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. If you like, this is his public opinion survey. Jesus was concerned to know the opinion of those, particularly those who were closest to him. He asked the direct question, who do you say I am? Because now he moves from what do the general public say, what do people out there say, but to the question, who do you say I am? Now, Simon Peter, who often becomes the spokesperson, who speaks up for the rest, says, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. You see, his answer is absolutely correct. And Jesus says, that's a good answer, that's the conclusion you've come to, but you haven't just generated it within yourself. It must have come from God himself. That answer certainly has a bigger map about it. Jesus refers to Peter as a rock-like person, and such a confession is the basis and the ground upon which the Christian community can be built. Now, this is important, for when Jesus conducted his public opinion survey, there must have been various opinions about him, just as there still are today. Jesus remained an enigma to many of the people around him during his ministry, and for some, that's how it will be today. The answer to the question, who do you say I am, is probably the most pointed and important question that Jesus ever asks. That question in the survey is asked of me, and it's asked of you. What kind of answer do we give? As we've listened to Dave's story, we've understood that life is not without its questions. We go through the darkest and most difficult periods in our lives, and it raises questions. But the question is asked to you. With the information that you have, with the experience that you have in life now, who do you think he is? Well, he comes to us, and he confronts us, and we see in the story of his life, his death, and his resurrection, we get insight into who he really is. Not merely a good teacher, not merely somebody who goes around bringing healing and bringing life and conducting miracles. He's more than that. He is the Lord, and the one who is Lord, the one who brings life and peace and grace into our lives, is the one that draws a response from you. So here today, I ask the same question of you. Search your heart and let him question you through the Holy Spirit. I ask you the question, who do you say he is? And is he ultimately the one that you've acknowledged as your Lord and your Saviour?
If you would like to know more about today's topic or for more on Keith's message, contact Keith by writing to Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Many thanks for joining us. While David has shared his hope beyond cure, he also mentions those in the medical field for their dedication and their support. This week, the Cancer Council in Australia is holding its annual Daffodil Day to raise funds for cancer research. But we leave you with Steve McPherson, a regular on the show, singing My Hope is Jesus. Until next week, goodbye and God bless you.
Some hope in chariots, some hope in wealth. My hope is Jesus and nothing else. Oh, such love and grace leads me to seek my Savior's face. Some hope in armies and the strength of man. My hope is Jesus, who calls me friend. He bears me up if I should fall. My everything, my all in all. What love is this that knows no bounds to faithfulness? What help would he not give the Son of God, through whom I live? Some hope in fortunes, some hope in